Hello and welcome to Lotus Bloom Gaming, now part of Into the 99 podcast. I'm your hostess, Lotus, and with me today is Han.
Hello, everybody. How are you tonight?
And we're going to be doing another Brewing It live session, and we are going to be brewing Valki, God of Lies. So...
Evening, Ashen.
Evening. Valki is a 1 and a black for a legendary creature god, 2/1. When Valki enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature they revealed this way until Valki leaves the battlefield. Pay X, choose a creature card exiled with Valki, with converted mana cost X. Valki becomes a copy of that card. But we also have... On the reverse side, one of the most underappreciated planeswalkers ever to exist, Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter, 5 black red. As Tibalt enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with you may play cards exiled with Tibalt, and you may spend mana as though it was mana of any colour to cast those spells. +2, exile the top card of each player's library. -3, exile target artifact or creature. And -8, exile all cards from all graveyards, add triple red. That is insane.
There's a lot going on with Tibalt.
There is so much going on. Yes, he's expensive, but if you get that to work, oh my god, their possibilities are insane. So...
Yeah, there's a lot that we could do with this. The main way that we kind of agreed upon building Tibalt was that we wanted to play into the flavor of Tibalt a little bit and be a little tricky with him.
Well, he's basically Loki, isn't he? The god of tricks.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to kind of delve into that aspect of it a little bit. I think we both agreed this might lean towards a Rakdos version of being a blue deck, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Let's try and break the colour pie. But I think the biggest issue we're going to have is trying to get it out and trying to get him out repeatedly with command attacks, especially the Planeswalker side.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to try and work on ramp as a priority, and then we can take it from there.
Sure.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to go with the good old faithful and Dark Ritual it.
Yep, Dark Ritual seems good. Our usuals, so our Soul Ring, our some of our other ramp would be things like, in this deck, Jeweled Lotus seems quite strong.
I mean, yes. Its price tag's very high, but in this deck, I think it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to give the Valki side out if we have a Jeweled Lotus in hand.
Pretty much.
And even if we draw it later on, it will definitely help for any commander tags that we run into whatsoever. So I think it's a good include in here.
But do you know what's better than having our Soul Ring?
Having others' Soul Rings?
Having a Treasure Nabber and nabbing everyone else's.
Okay with this. Treasure Nabber seems great.
I mean, it's basically blue control stealing things, isn't it?
We have a Curse of Opulence in chat from Tracy, and we also have a couple of suggestions from Ashen. So I guess we're going right off the bat with a Tibalt's Trickery, which is, I believe, in both of our lists without even looking.
Okay, well, Curse of Opulence, whenever enchanted player is attacked, make some treasured gold, isn't it? Not treasure. And I suppose it is a Tibalt deck. Tibalt's Trickery. If it doesn't go in, it's going to be sad.
Yep, that's definitely one of the suggestions that we had as well from Ashen. Thank you, Ashen.
But do we want things like Pyretic Ritual and Desperate Ritual?
So the one that I had personally, as part of mine, let's see here, I actually had I was going more along the lines of Braid of Fire, personally, but I don't think that either of those are bad.
No. I mean, if we're going for Braid of Fire, this we have to use in our upkeep, though.
Mm-hmm.
So do we put in a Horizon Stone?
Yeah. So that's where I was going with it. Horizon Stone and Leyline Tyrants were the ones that I was thinking about.
Oh, Leyline Tyrant, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. That way that red mana does not dissipate off of our Braid of Fire, so I liked that personally.
Yeah, so we can try and store up some mana, and if they kill the Leyline Tyrant, it's just going to be painful for them.
Hey, Benson. Yeah, we've been on a Rakdos train lately, but I mean, when we have Tibalt to discuss, I mean, we're going to discuss some Tibalt here.
Yeah.
He's kind of the face of Kaldheim, too, so I was not mad at jumping on top of that immediately.
No. I'm just going to go straight into Dockside.
Sure.
I mean, that's just value for 2 mana.
Yep, and I actually had Goldspan Dragon as one of the new Kaldheim cards.
Is that the double treasure dragon?
It doesn't double the treasure, it just doubles the mana generated off of the
when
treasure.
It attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasures you control have tap, sacrifice, and add 2. Ooh.
Yep. Yeah, so you sacrifice the treasure and it adds 2 of any one color, so it seems good.
I'm quite happy with something like that.
Jerry Hatrix just mentioned Wheel of Fortune, and just to cycle back to Ashen, he also has a Withering Boon in here, as well as both the other Tibalts.
Okay, so we have a Wheel of Fortune at $1,600.
Mm-hmm.
We can. What was the other one?
Just Wheel of Fate.
Wheel of Fate.
Wheel of Fate. Yeah, that's the one with the suspend 4, and I think that doesn't cost nearly as much, and it also kind of works in our favor of we're just scheming and planning, and we'll go ahead and we'll be okay in 4 turns to go ahead and wheel, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to just go with Geriatric's suggestion, but the price is just so high. But this one, I think, is a nice compromise.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have a Wheel of Fortune, by all means, go ahead and throw it in there. I know Necrozak actually just traded in a Wheel of Fortune for a bunch of other cards for value at his local game store. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of money. It definitely is. So, if you have it, you can certainly just replace the Wheel of Fate with it. Strict upgrade.
And did you say Imp's Mischief was the other one?
Sorry?
Did you say someone suggested Imp's Mischief?
Oh, no, but I will suggest that right now.
Oh, okay. What was the other suggestion?
It was the other 2 Tibalts and Withering Boon, if we haven't gotten there yet.
I knew it was a counterspell. I think it's a counterspell. Yeah. Yes. I mean, black counterspells, you got to love them.
Mm-hmm. So along those lines, so like I said, we're kind of going a little bit tricksy and being sort of a blue-ish deck is kind of the idea that you and I had.
Yeah.
So things along the lines of, Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast. I'm not sure we need all of these, but we can just kind of cut them later as needed.
Yeah, let's do. Just do one of them.
Jerry Hatrix also said, if you're going dragons in ramp, how about Terror of Mount Valus? Mount Valus is the one. I'm trying to remember. Is that the double strike?
Terror of Mount Valus is 5 red for a flying double strike. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain double strike to end of turn.
See, me personally, I wasn't thinking of Goldspan Dragon as being a dragon tribal for Valki. I was thinking more just along the lines of, I'm just going to get some value off of some treasure.
Yeah, I think the creatures and the way I was looking at it, there's no set tribe. It was more theme, because Valki is such a unique card and his abilities are so specific. I tried to use that in what I was suggesting. So, to give you an idea of what I was thinking, is because he exiles cards or becomes cards, and you can cast on Tibalt's side the cards that you exile, I was thinking along the lines of like Stolen Strategy.
I would agree with that.
Where in instance, it's 4 and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast non-land cards from among them. And you may spend mana or those mana of any colour to cast those spells.
Yeah.
That was the kind of thought process I went down. Let's not just use our deck. Let's play with everybody's.
I quite enjoy that as well. So along the lines of being a little tricksy, there's a card that's on my list, and it's also just been suggested by Tracy. She says, Dead Man's Chest. So along the lines of Curse of Opulence, it is also a curse of sorts, because because it's an aura that you're going to put on a creature an opponent controls. 1 and a black. When an enchanted creature dies, you exile cards equal to its power from the top of its owner's library, and you may cast non-land cards from among them for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana of any color to cast those spells.
And that last bit is very relevant if we're playing against non-Rakdos decks.
So, yeah, when that creature dies, I would love to exile cards from the top of your library and basically bill in as well.
I feel like Tracy's on the same wavelength as me, because I'm having to cross off cards of my list every time.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as well.
So, how evil are we going to be? Because Tibalt, in lore, is a very sadistic, evil person. I mean, he literally revels in other people's misery. So, if we're going to go down that route, can I suggest an opposition agent?
Sure. I think that that's probably the meanest we want to go, if I'm being honest.
Yes,
because he's more tricksy as far as the deck is concerned. The opposition agent also is good in the sense of, hey, are you doing an evil thing? Well, then I'm going to do an evil thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's about as mean as I want to go. I will say that Benson has also suggested a Tevish Zot, because if we're taking cards from hands, we should put it in for taking cards from their command zone too.
Yeah, I'm going to cross another one off my list. Yeah, that was another way. Benson is on exactly the same wavelength as me. If we're stealing their deck, we might as well steal their commanders as well.
So far, I like everything that I'm seeing. Benson just suggested the Mages of the Moon. I don't know if we want to go Blood Moon effect.
What is it with you, Benson? Last time it was land destruction, and now it's land. I know you. I'm watching.
So I'm gonna steer this a little bit in a different direction for a second, if I may.
Yeah.
I had the idea that I wanted to be a little bit more tricksy in flavor with Valki. So I had cards such as I had one called Head Games that I really wanted to kind of just bring out.
Okay.
Head Games is 3 black for a sorcery. Target opponent puts cards from his or her hand on top of their library. You can search that player's library for that many cards, and the player puts those cards into his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library.
Oh, that's disgusting.
So I'm sure we've all been at a table where, I have one of our opponents may say, well, someone's getting out of hand. Does anybody have an answer for anything that's going on here? And I might not have the answer, but if I target an opponent who has an answer in their deck, I can potentially use this in a way to manipulate it to our advantage, right? Okay. So if you have an answer for the 3 enchantments in, Barrier Breach, or if you have a board wipe that you need to do right now, otherwise we're going to die next turn, maybe I use Head Games on my turn to help the other player out, and you can kind of use it in a political sense.
You can also do it if someone's ahead of the game. You can literally just go, let's put all those cards back and give you a handful of land.
Exactly.
That's really good.
I really liked it for Valki specifically. Ashen says, both Pestilence and Pyrohemia in a Rakdos deck. And this Control S deck seems great for both of them.
Pyrohemia?
Mm-hmm.
I've not heard of that card. Two red for an enchantment at the beginning of the end step. If no creatures are on the battlefield, sacrifice it. Pay a red. Deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Okay, I mean that's on flavour.
And I mean, we're also generating a bunch of red mana, so we can certainly do that.
Yeah. What was the other card?
And Pestilence. It's the enchantment version of that red effect. So Pestilence is 2 black. At the end of each turn, if no creatures are in play, sacrifice it and pay black to do the same thing. Each creature and each player takes 1 damage. So, yeah, if we are going that route, I would also suggest either a Massacre Worm or a Massacre Girl, depending on the situation you want to be in. Because Massacre Girl will kind of do that as well for you, depending on the board state.
I think Massacre Girl is a slightly better card, because if there's enough creatures, it will just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Right. I mean, the idea for the Pyrrhemia Pestilence is because it also deals damage to each player. I would imagine that Ashen is going for that.
Yeah.
But I was just suggesting like a Massacre Worm being on the field and just paying for enough to make people lose 2 life is not a horrible idea either.
No, I can see that.
So I think Massacre Worm in conjunction with that would probably be better if it's sticking around on the board. Obviously, it's a 6 mana creature, so
yeah,
there is that. And so a couple of other Trixie cards that I personally like. I had a Disrupt Decorum.
Yep. Goad all creatures.
Red. Goad all creatures you don't control. We just recently had a game where goad all creatures was a very relevant thing.
Yes, that was a very interesting game. I have never seen so many forced turn endings by myself to stop that.
And I would also like to throw in a Foretell card from the recent set, Dual Strike. It is quickly becoming one of my favorite pet cards. While we're doing all this, we can copy a CMC 4 or less with a Foretell.
Yeah. May I suggest a card that this might work perfectly with, and also is on theme?
Go for it.
How about the good old-fashioned Chaos Warp?
Seems good.
I mean, there's nothing more tricksy of going, well, you thought it was that, but now it's something else.
We could go hand in hand with that. We could also put in a Poison the Cup. Seems like something Valki would do. Destroy target creature for 1 black and a black at instant speed, and if this spell was foretold, try 2.
Yeah, I've been playing that in the pre-release that we've been doing over webcam. This is such a good card.
It's fantastic. The fact that you can just scry 2 and destroy a creature. I mean, you'll pay 1 more in the grand scheme of things, but you will also pay 1 less black.
Yeah. Plus it also stops hand disruption because it's not in your hand.
Ashen is saying Thieving Amalgam. I'm actually not familiar with this one. Thieving Amalgam? Oh, interesting. It's an ape snake. 7 CMC creature. 5 black. 6/7 for at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you manifest the top card of that player's library.
Oh, that was in the Morph deck.
Yeah, whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its owner loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I quite like that, actually.
That's pretty good. I actually like that too.
I've got one more that I'm going to go ahead with that I really want to throw out here. I was looking at Rite of the Raging Storm. It's a 5 mana enchantment, 3 red, and it says creatures named Lightning Rager can't attack you or Planeswalker you control, which is very relevant to both sides of Valki.
Yep, fair.
Tibalt. And at the beginning of each player's upkeep, they create a 5/1 red elemental creature token named Lightning Rager. It has trample, haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature.
I quite like that.
So it can't attack us, and it's a 5/1.
Yeah, that's going to cause a lot of problems, I think, very quickly for some people.
It's at 5 mana, so I mean...
I mean, if we've got enough ramp and we're stealing enough stuff from people, it might be possible.
Yeah, it certainly would be.
So...
What did you have in mind?
I was going back down to, our deck is not enough, we need other people's.
Fair.
And I was going to suggest an Atali.
Atali seems good.
Because it's a big creature, but the benefits, if it actually works, is amazing. So whenever it attacks, it doesn't even have to deal damage. You exile the top card of each player's library, that includes ours. Then you may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana cost. That could be huge.
Right. My only concern with Atali would be we just need some haste for that big boy.
I mean, do we just put the booties in?
I was thinking maybe along the lines of a Fervor or a Mass Hysteria, if we want to just give all creatures in.
I mean, Mass Hysteria is what Tibalt wants to cause.
That's more. I thought that was more on flavor.
That's more on flavor.
Fervor would only give our creatures haste, but I didn't know if we wanted to go for the flavor or if we wanted to go more for.
I mean, if you're building this deck yourself, choose which one you want to do. But for flavor, I want to go for Mass Hysteria.
Let's do it. I'm good with it.
So, do we just put Rakshasa Debasa in?
The cat demon?
The cat demon.
The one and only cat demon.
The one and only cat demon. 6 mana, but with Encore, which is the new mechanic from Commander Legends. When it attacks, again, don't need to do combat damage, put target creature card from defending player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That's such a powerful thing to have.
We have a suggestion from Jerry Hatrix that says Burning Inquiry. It's a 1 mana red source 3 that says each player draws 3 cards and discards 3 cards at random. If we're going a little bit of chaos.
Yeah.
I'm also good with this.
I'm very happy with that.
If we're going some discards, might I suggest a Rotting Regisaur?
Ooh.
I mean, I wouldn't mind just having a 7/6 body just purely for blocking.
I mean, it's a 3 mana 7/6.
Worse for us, right? It kind of goes hand in fate, and I believe it also goes a little bit well with just some of the things we do. Sometimes we just want to discard some of our stuff, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to play things from graves, I think, with or from exile. Well, we're just going to play things from everywhere by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Also, if we're going to try and kill things with our creatures, I think Tergrid is amazing.
Tergrid is pretty fantastic.
Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from the graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. I do have a partner to sit with this as well.
Sure.
So the partner that I want to put with it, I finally found a reason to have Sire of Insanity.
Yep. Let's go all in on this discard. And
each player can discard your whole hand, and then we're going to get it all back on the battlefield.
Yeah. Whatever they sacrifice or discard a permanent, I am good with it.
Yeah. You know, I don't feel it's random enough. Should we put a last one standing board wipe in?
Sure.
Choose a creature at random, then destroy the rest. Who doesn't like this random?
I will also go ahead and suggest another slightly trickier card.
Okay.
I quite like Repeated Reverberation. It's another copy effect for an instant sorcery, or in the case of either Tevish or more likely our Valki, we can copy a loyalty ability.
Yes.
And that loyalty ability actually gets copied twice.
And doesn't your favourite spell, Dual Strike, copy that?
Maybe.
Dual Strike is 4 or less. Repeated Reverberation is 4. Oh. Yeah, sure.
I was being facetious, yeah. You're definitely going for a Repeated Reverberation copy.
Okay. You know how you said you didn't want me to be too mean and opposition agent was as mean as you wanted me to be?
You're going to go meaner?
I just want to suggest something. So, on the other side of Valki, on Tibalt, exile the top card of each player's library.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get multiple exiles.
Yeah. So what if we put in a scheming symmetry and got them to choose what's at the top?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean,
yep.
If we have opposition out, we can select the card for them.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it goes into exile, doesn't it? But still, I think if without that...
But still, I think scheming symmetry is just a flavor of win either way. So yeah, I think we can definitely... It's flexible enough as well that we can choose ourselves as well if we so chose. So
yeah.
I'm not mad at it. I actually liked my Dark Ritual card of choice, though. I actually really like Seething Song for the same reason. I was kind of waiting to bring this one up for the repeated reverberation and copy effects.
Oh,
so
right,
Seething Song actually makes 5 red to our mana pool for 3 CMC. But if we copy this, or maybe even copy it twice, depending on the situation, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can go and just generate a whole bunch of mana very quickly.
Yeah, that would make it a lot easier for us to get out Tibalt.
Mm-hmm. Especially with our Leyline Tyrants and so on and so forth. Potentially, racking those up.
Yeah. So we've got 12 creatures, we've got our enchantments, we've got 10 instants, so it looks like we're a very reactive deck more than proactive.
We're just making a bunch of mana.
We're just making a lot of mana. Another one that I was going to probably suggest was Gonti, Lord of Luxury.
Yep, it's on my list as well.
Again, it does the whole thievery thing. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library, exile one of them face down, then you put the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. You may look at that card and cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it's mana of any colour to cast it, which again is the most important part of that, I feel.
Yeah, I think that's certainly a good call. I like it a lot. Dante is a classic.
Yeah.
In chat we have Jerry Hattrick suggesting Frenzied Havoc Razor. Oh, I'm sorry, Grenzo Havoc Razor. Because apparently we need a goblin.
I mean, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose one. Go to target creature that player controls, or exile the top card of that player's library until end of turn. You may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though it was any colour. I like that. That one,
goes in.
That's beautiful. Does exactly what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. It does indeed.
This one is an odd one. I want to see what you feel first. So Sep Uch Rao Primordial.
Sepulchral.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's got Intimidate. But when this enters the battlefield, for each opponent, you may put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control.
Yep.
Again, stealing more stuff.
Yep. Tracy loved to run this card in her Kalia deck. Or, her Rakdos Lord of Riots deck. And, yeah, this was a staple for her at some point. She loved stealing stuff.
We've got a lot of creatures that do ETB stuff, have we? Or is it mostly attacks?
I think it's mostly attacks, actually.
Yeah, so a Conjurer's Closet won't be that great here.
Are you talking about Panharmonicon?
No, Conjurer's Closet. It flickers creatures.
Ah, okay. You wanted to bring it back and do it again. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it's
2 triggers of it. Yeah.
I don't think it's needed.
No, I think it's okay. So yeah, I'm. How many creatures do we have right now?
15.
Just out of curiosity.
15 if you don't include the ones that we're stealing.
Right. So I think we're a little bit light on the creature count, but I don't think that that's the worst thing ever in this deck, because again, we're kind of going along the lines of trying to be more blue-ish.
Yeah. And
do other people's things. So I don't think that that's bad. Might I suggest a Lantern of Insight? It's a 1-mana artifact that everybody plays with their top card of their library revealed. And you can also sacrifice it to make a target player shuffle their library. So, top card of the library, we have a couple of things that manipulate that.
Yeah.
And if we don't particularly like something that's coming up, then we can always shuffle it away if need be.
I mean, that's good. And it also sees if it's worth using Tibalt.
Mm-hmm.
I have something that resolves our creature light issue, but also resolves our mana issue.
All right.
Cryptghast.
That was on my list as well. Yep. I have a lot of things that just make a bunch of mana, so I am all for it.
Yeah, so whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add black to your mana pool.
Mm-hmm.
If we add an Urborg in here...
Yep. Becomes quite good.
It becomes...
all our squirreling away effect.
Yeah. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth.
Mm-hmm. To that effect, I would also say Mana Geyser is one that I really like. It typically, if you have a bunch of things that, if you have your Leyline Tyrant or anything that holds your red mana up, I think it's fantastic. It generates you so much mana.
Yeah, I agree with that. We are doing a lot of discarding, and there are a lot of wheel effects. So something that will be really good for us, both on the battlefield, ETB, and in the graveyard, I feel is Croxer, Titan of Death's Hunger.
That one's never on my radar because I don't own either Croxa or Uros. I just never think about them.
They're silly. Yeah. So when it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless it escaped. But when it enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card, then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life, and then it escapes for black, black, red, red, and exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. It's a big creature that does so much.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think that along that line of thought, do we add something like in the Head the Eternal in that case? Because it kind of goes along with Ashen's Pestilence Pyrrhemia stuff as well.
Yeah, that just goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and they have the Eternal 3 red for a 4/6 Zombie Minotaur Warrior with Afflict 3, where Afflict is, if it becomes blocked, they still lose 3 life. And at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you add a red to your mana pool for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. So I think that if we're making opponents lose life and we're just getting mana for it at the beginning of our post-combat main phase, again, generate a lot of mana, get Valki out, or even Tibalt, and do Tibalt things.
Yeah. I have another card that is very, very on flavour for Tibalt. So Tibalt is half devil. So what if we actually put in Wildfire Devils, which is 3 and a red for a devil creature 4/2. When it enters the battlefield at the beginning of your upkeep, choose a player at random. That player exiles an instant or sorcery card from their graveyard. Copy that card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're going to get, but it's mad. It's really insane.
Yeah, that seems really good. I think that... So, my line of thought here is, well, we are creature light. We're playing other people's creatures, but we can't really rely on that, right?
Yeah.
Do we throw a No Mercy in here to dissuade our opponents from attacking us in the face?
I mean, it definitely gives them a decision to make. I think that's a reasonable decision.
Yeah, No Mercy is 2 black for an enchantment that says whenever a creature successfully deals damage to you, destroy it.
And Tibalt is a lover of torture, and someone like that doesn't give any mercy.
Mm-hmm. Quite on flavor.
Very on flavour. So, we haven't really supported Tibalt as the Planeswalker side, so may I suggest the Chain Veil? So, at the beginning of your end step, if you didn't activate a loyalty of a Planeswalker, lose 2 life, but pay 4 for each Planeswalker you control. You may activate one of its loyalty abilities once this turn, as though none of its loyalties have been activated.
Yeah, Chain Veil.
So we can activate twice.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I was actually going to suggest, since we have a Tevish Zot, and we're going that route with our commander and Chain Veil, I think, what do you think of Chandra, either Torch of Defiance or Acolyte of Flame would also work, because Acolyte of Flame is the one that puts a loyalty counter on each red planeswalker you control.
Yeah. It also lets you
like
cast instants and sorceries from my graveyard as well if we really needed to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like that.
I quite like the M21. And again, think about it. If you have a repeated reverberation, it's kind of a silly 3 proliferate.
Yeah, and was it Torch of Defiance, you said?
Acolyte of Flames was the first one, the M21, and then the Torch of Defiance was the other one.
The mana one.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. If you happen to have a repeated reverberation with Chandra Acolyte of Flame, and you plus 0 3 times, essentially, since you're copying it twice, you're potentially giving Tibalt immediately its ult.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to exile all cards from all graveyards immediately and add 3 red mana, but you do have that emblem. You can, play cards exiled with Tibalt, so let's just say that you're exiling huge graveyards. You can, from that point onwards, you can just play all of those, everything you've exiled.
Yeah. And I kind of glossed over it, and I think as we're talking of Planeswalkers, if we are going Tibalt themed, I totally agree with Ashen that said it in chat earlier. We put both Tibalts in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your opponents can't gain life. That's just solid.
Yep.
And then the Tibalt that everyone laughs at, the Fiend-Blooded. But if we're wanting to draw a card and discard cards, it's amazing. But if we can -6 it, especially with the Chandras, and trying to get the loyalty on there quickly, we gain control of all their creatures.
Yeah.
That's such a blue thing. And the white bordered Tibalt is just beautiful.
And tilt-inducing in certain regards. Certain players. How are we looking in terms of...
We have 92 cards we have yet to go over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we have all our lands in. We have some tricky cards. We have some creatures. Things that I might want to add personally, especially if we're not over. I think we can put in a couple cards that like to use all this mana we're generating.
Okay.
I think some win cons are necessary. First of all, in this deck, if we're making this much mana, I would argue that Chromatic Orrery may be a win con, because we can use any mana for any color, and if we're exiling other people's stuff, some of our effects don't just say use mana of any color to cast those. So I think that helps in that regard.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. And if we've got all 5 colours, because we're stealing other people's, that 5 and tap, draw a card for each colour among permanents could actually be 5, draw 5.
Yeah.
I'm on that train. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not sure it works in most decks, but I think this one actually kind of fits if we're going with the way that we're going right now. I think an Agadeem's Awakening is probably another good one to throw in here for all the mana we're making, especially with our Cryptcasts, our Herborg.
Yeah, I can get on that. And a Torment of Hailfire, maybe?
Yeah, I would say Torment of Hailfire, Exsanguinate. We are losing a lot of life in the process here. Withering Boom is paying 3 life to counter spell, and we're also taking damage from Pyrohemia and Pestilence. So I think that Exsanguinate's a decent one as well.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. So Torment of Hailfire, repeat the process X times, where each opponent loses 3 life or sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card.
Yeah.
Again, goes hand in hand with Turgid. If we happen to have Turgid out on the God side, and we can just pair that with Torment of Hailfire, which is the other side, essentially on an artifact.
Yeah. One thing that I did find that could be an issue with constantly casting Tibalt at the other side is the command attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was suggesting was a command beacon. So if the tax gets too high, we can sacrifice this land to put our commander in our hand from the command zone, eliminating the excessive cost of paying for Tibalt, basically.
Yeah, and I think hand in hand with that, we could also put down a Sanctum of Eternity that essentially does the same thing for not having to sacrifice it either. You just pay 2 mana and you tap it to return target commander you own from the battlefield to your hand. You can only activate that ability during your own turn, however. But
yeah, I mean, it could come in handy.
On the off chance that you have it as your planeswalker is about to die or anything like that, you can just recast it and put Tibalt back down for 5 loyalty again. If you minus it or anything of that sort, you can just kind of redo it.
Or you can try and activate it twice.
Yeah.
If you really want to go down that route.
Yeah, +2. Exile the top card and do it again. If you have a bunch of mana, do it. I also quite like adding, as far as the lands, we do have Tevish Sat and some Chandras. I think an Interplanar Beacon is not the worst thing, I think. Because whenever you cast a Planeswalker spell, you gain a life. I'm assuming we're going to try to get Tibalt out more than once.
I hope so.
And it'll actually allow us to tap for 1 and tap it to add 2 mana of different colors. And you can spend this mana to cast Planeswalker spells only. Or you can just tap it for generic. I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing to have done. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
We haven't got much targeted removal, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, on theme, seeing as Tibalt is part devil, how about we just put devil?
Seems good to me. I was going to suggest, solely for the new artwork, I was going to suggest a Dreadbore. It seems fitting for Call Time / Tibalt.
Yeah.
The new metal art.
That's very Tibalty.
And we have a suggestion for a Damnation as well. We can certainly put the new Damnation coming up from the Secret Lair as well, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely some weird stuff happening there.
Tibalt lives in that realm somewhere.
He probably created it.
Little do we know. And for some more removal, I think honorary mentions go to Feed the Swarm. I personally like a Blasphemous Act here as well. We don't have that many creatures. If we do, we don't mind blowing it up entirely.
Yeah. I mean, Feed the Swarm, I really like. Did that actually save the Blasphemous Act? Doesn't look like it did. Let's go back and get it.
Yeah.
Come on. There we go. So,
no, go ahead.
I was just checking to see if everything was added, just because it seems like it had a little hiccup, a little bit of chaos going on here.
Fitting for Tibalt.
I've just come across one on my list that I didn't realise. So, what about Varagoth? So, its boast ability is target player searches their library for a card, shuffles their library, and puts that card on top.
Yeah.
And then Tibalt will take the card from the top. I know it won't work all the time, because they'll put cards on the top that they don't want to lose, or they don't mind losing, but it's also good for us as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 2/3 Death Toucher at the worst as well. I mean, you want to activate the boast ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to attack with it and boast to get that going, but yeah, certainly. How do you feel about a Kaya's Ghost form?
Oh, to protect.
Yeah, because we can enchant either a creature or a planeswalker.
Which is either side.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like that.
And it protects it from exile.
It does. I actually really like that.
Yeah. Geriatrics is suggesting a Bond of Revival for getting back something from the graveyard.
Bond of Revival. 4 and a black sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Oh, can you imagine getting a Tali back from the battlefield?
Yeah, Tali. Rotting Registor with haste out of nowhere.
Leyline Tyrant, Neheb, Rasha Debassa.
Or just a Turgid, yeah. Any of those things seem great.
Yeah. Or even the Varagoth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually works quite nicely.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
I think I'm coming to sort of like the end of my list. I mean, I've got a few mana rocks. There is one that I really wanted to talk to you about.
Sure, what you got?
So, Blood on the Snow. So
All about it.
4 black snow sorcery. Choose one. Destroy all creatures or destroy all planeswalkers. Then return a creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast this spell. Now,
so
if we just run the snow basics, which I have already prepared, that's just value.
Yeah, let's just say that we had, I mean, we could also just be playing that with, if a crit cast is out or anything like that, we could just be paying 2 snow basics and that'll just bring back a Tevish slot, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 3. It was 5 CMC. But yeah, I'm all about that. That seems great as far as the board wipe. I would like to throw a color pie breaker.
Okay, I'm all about this.
Darkness.
Oh, fog.
Black fog. What do you think? I personally like the art on it as well, so it just kind of goes hand in hand I think it just fits in this Tibalt realm. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I quite like Darkness, actually. Any card that is off color, like white counter spells, black fogs, steel effects outside blue, it's just chaos, and I love it.
Yep. After running the Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast, I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah. I mean, I was so tempted to put in things like Warp Weld and go completely chaos, but I don't think Loki is that mad. He is very calculated, so I kind of stayed away from that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Planeswalkers as well, off of the Blood on the Snow, we can get the Chandras both 3 and 4 CMC quite easily, so I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah. Though we're at 106 cards, as always.
As always.
So there will be some cuts again. We'll have to go through and see what we need, but is there any more suggestions?
Any suggestions from chat? I'll throw it out there first. And in the meantime, you know what? What do you feel about Skyfire Phoenix? It's 2 and 2 red for a 3/3 flying haster, but whenever you cast your commander, it returns it from your graveyard to the battlefield.
So it just keeps coming back.
Eventually. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that it's the best thing ever, but
it'd probably end up being cut, to be honest.
Yeah. I think we have other things that wind up being a little bit better here.
I was going to suggest Castle Lochthwain, just because it's a solid card.
Sure. Maybe a Cabal Coffers if we're doing Urborg, right? Yeah, I mean, it is pricey. If you have it, throw it in. If not, no worries.
Yeah, Cabal Coffers. What was the other one? Stronghold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cabal Stronghold is for each basic swamp, so it doesn't happen with Urborg. But if you're not wanting to spend $100, Cabal Stronghold is a good substitute. I remember this dude.
Yeah. 2 and a red for a 1/3 human wizard. You can pay 1 red, and you can put a Planeswalker card from your hand onto the battlefield. It does get sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. However, maybe we want Tibalt / Tevishlat / Chandra, any of these to be sacrificed at the end step.
And then do Blood on the Snow.
Just bring it right back.
Yeah. Or put a guy's ghost form on it.
Yeah. All of these seem great.
Yeah.
Can definitely do some shenanigans with it, and I like it. Have we already put a Netherborn Altar in here? Don't remember.
Netherborn Altar.
Yeah, the one in a black artifact. It taps and you can put a soul counter on it.
No.
You can put commander into your hand. Netherborn. Netherborn.
There it is.
Yep.
Put a counter on Netherborn, put your commander into your hand from the command zone. Then you lose 3 life for each soul counter on Netherborn. That's pretty good. So you replace the command attacks with basically loss of life.
Yeah, 3 life per each soul counter.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good... So we've got 8 cuts, unless chat have got any suggestions to add to this.
Geriatrics just says this is looking sweet. Ooh.
So
we're talking about lands. My brain went to a Phyrexian tower.
Oh, yeah.
And then I immediately thought about captivating crew.
So Phyrexian tower, if we do steal anything and it's not permanently, we sacrifice it for mana. Did you say captivating crew?
Yeah, it's the 4/3 human pirate that costs 3 in a red, and you just pay 3 in a red. You gain control of a target creature an opponent controls, and you untap it, gain haste. You can only use this anytime you can cast a sorcery, so just steal it.
And then sack it.
Sacrifice it, get 2 black mana, and go from there. Yeah, that seems okay.
Yeah. Let's have to...
Oh, I must have forgotten. I don't think I brought this up. Treasonous Ogre? Do we throw that in?
No, you're finding so much today. You were struggling with this when we first decided to do this. Now look at you. Dethrone, pay 3 life, add a red.
Yeah, score a little bit with Leyline Siren.
Yeah.
Sanguinate the board, do it some more.
Okay, we're now at 110. As it always goes.
Okay with that.
So now we need to work out what to whittle down to actually make it a viable deck. I think 36 land. Well, let's check our stats. We're running at an average of 3.3, and our mana curve, we've got
3.3.
3.3, and our 4-drops are quite extensive. But generally we're looking okay. So we could probably drop 1 land. I wouldn't be too sad. I think so.
We just need to start these with 35 lands.
Yeah, I think we're making more black than red. We're casting more black than red, so we'll cast 1 red.
Yeah, we have lots of ways to generate red, so I'm not too fussed about that, I don't think.
So we have Braids of Fire, Curse of Opulence, Dead Man's Chest, Kaya's Ghost Form. So Mass Hysteria is the one that instantly makes me feel a bit nervous.
Sure.
Do you agree?
I don't agree, but I can see where you're coming from. The Curse of Opulence is also a question mark for me, just because of we don't have that many creatures that we're attacking with, I don't think.
We've got 23.
Oh, that's actually not bad. That's more than I thought.
Yeah.
How did we get that point?
There's a lot of creatures that do a lot of things. Okay, let's try and go down to instants. So we got Withering Boon, Tibalt's Trickery, Repeated Reverberate. I think Red Elemental Blast is very too situational.
Sure. And I mean, we have a Pyroblast already, right?
We have Withering Boon. No, I only chose 1.
Oh, okay.
But we've got Withering Boon, Tibalt's Trickery, Imp's Mischief. So we've got a few.
We got some protections. I think we're okay with cutting Red Elemental Blast because of situational.
Yeah. So let's look at our sorceries. We've got Azadim's Awakening, Blasphemous Act to just hopefully reset everything gone wrong, Blood on the Snow, Bond of Revival, Burning Inquiry, Damnation. So Disrupt Decorum.
I think that Disrupt Decorum, it's higher up on the CMC, right?
It's 4.
4. Go to all creatures you don't control. Yeah, I think Tibalt likes it.
Yeah. Feed the Swarm I put in because of any awkward enchantments. And destroy a creature. But we lose life equal to the converted mana cost. Is that too much life loss?
I think it's still value enough that I think it's okay.
Yeah.
We can cycle back to it, I think.
Okay, so let's go through our creatures. So we got Captivating Crew, which steals, which is what we want. Cryptghast for extra mana. Dockside Extortionate for extra mana. Atali for stealing. Goldspan Dragon for extra mana.
Forgot about 2 cards.
I've just thought of another card. This has sparked me.
Is it Gadrak?
No. It was Revel in Riches.
I'm okay with Revel in Riches, but I think I like Gadrak better. It's a flying 5/4 that can't attack, but it can block flyers.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn.
Okay.
Make some more treasures.
Yeah. Okay, we're back up to 10.
Okay, so I will give you the option. Do you like Gadrak or do you like Zancha? Because those are the two that I came across. I kind of like Zancha for giving someone a 5/5. It enters the battlefield under an opponent's choice, your choice of an opponent, and has to attack each other each combat fable.
I mean, that's just mad.
Card draw.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with Zancha because that seems more bizarre than Gadrak. Gadrak seems a different tactic altogether. We still need to cut 10. So I'm wondering if the Rotting Regisaur doesn't fit what we need to do. Yes, it's a big blocker, but it's 20. We've got 24 creatures plus whatever we steal.
I'm okay with it. I just wanted to throw it into the mix in case we went more discard routes.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a fun dinosaur.
I think Wildfire Devils...
Jerry Hattrix is suggesting that Agadeem's Awakening is also a land if you need it.
That's true, so we could just cut a swamp for the land.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves us 8 cards to cut. Okay. Seething Song.
My question is, I think Chainveil is great. However, if we don't have a Planeswalker, we lose 2 life each end step. Is that too much?
I'm thinking it might be a bit too much, yeah. We're already losing life left, right, and centre from everywhere else.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that in general. I think that per turn 2 life is a lot. If we don't happen to have one of our 4, I believe, Planeswalkers out of the whole deck.
5 plus Tibalt.
In the command zone. Yeah, I think that's a little bit hopeful at best.
Is Massacre Girl really beneficial to us?
No, I think the worm is better.
I haven't put the worm in either.
Oh. I don't think that the Massacre Girl does need to stay. I don't think it needs to stay either way.
Yeah, I think we've got enough board wipes and steal effects.
Yeah, I think we have enough to deal with creatures on board.
Yeah. We've got Last One Standing, Blasphemous Act, Blood on the Snow, we've got board wipes, Damnation.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got plenty of board wipes. And we've got 6 to go. See, now this is getting really tricky because we're getting down to the really good cards and it's finding really difficult. I'm not sold on Treacherous Ogre, to be honest.
Yeah, we can definitely get rid of Treacherous Ogre. I mean, it's great to just pay life and add red mana, but I think that it's not necessary.
Yeah, and
I think we have plenty of ways to make more red mana than paying 3 life per.
And I think Wildfire Devils, even though very on theme, 4 mana, it's not that fantastic.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's give it a quick save. We've got 4 cards left. I am not going to cut Tibalt's because Tibalt.
I think I'm okay with that. Let me take a look here. So I like the Stolen Strategy. I really like the Rite of Raging Storm.
We've got Revel in Riches. Do we want to go down that route?
I would say I think that we use that for mana, not as a win con. Typically.
Yeah,
that's... We don't have that much in the way of generating treasures.
I can agree with that. Still got Mass Hysteria, Curse of Opulence.
I think the curse is okay to be gone as well.
Yeah. As
much as I love cursing a player, it also doesn't bode well. A lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, it kind of puts a target on your back.
Especially if it's turn 1.
Yeah. Okay, so I am going to suggest Croxer.
That is entirely up to you. I know that like I said, I just personally do not run Croxa because I don't own one. So I'm not certain as to how good it is in that sense.
I think in this situation, it's not as good as I'm wanting it to be, but I think it's a good card, don't get me wrong, but in what we're doing, I don't really want to start exiling stuff from our grave.
Yeah, I like our graveyard as well.
So we're down to 1 cut.
Do we have enough effects that do what Sepulchral Primordial does? Or do we just taking 3 creatures out.
I think being a 5, it's a 7 mana 5/4.
I mean, it's got Intimidate. I don't think it's bad because we can get 3 creatures out.
Yeah.
Is that what we want to do? Is my question. Alternatively, actually, can we go over to the instance and sorcery section and look at our mana generating things?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So
yeah, that's partially my fault.
Mana Geyser.
I quite like Mana Geyser because it is a late 5-drop card, but
Seething
depending
Song
on the board state, it's so good. I think the Seething Song is just really good.
and Dark Ritual.
My question is, do we actually get rid of the Dark Ritual here? 1 for 3, as opposed to 3 for 5, and we can double it. We have some copy effects as far as spells, so...
I can see that. We don't need all of it, we just need some of it.
Yeah, because I don't think that we need it that early.
And with our double red Planeswalkers, there's more double red pips than double black. I mean, actually, there's quite a lot of double black. But with Urborg, I think that covers that.
Yeah.
So I think having the red mana generators is better than having the black ones.
I'm also going to throw one more thought out here.
Don't do it.
I mean, does Tibalt like lithoform engines?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do you a deal.
Let's cut the mass hysteria for a lithoform engine. What do you think?
I was gonna suggest Chromatic Ori, but no, I'm happy with that.
Suggestion in mind, so I wanted to.
Yeah, Lithoform engine. Let's just make copies of everything, and yeah, just let's go mad.
Yeah, because I mean, we can make copies of Planeswalkers and sack them, and yeah, I think it works.
Stolen Strategy twice.
Mm-hmm. I quite like it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much how we're gonna go with this.
I think that's good fun when in a Tibalt deck.
Yeah. So okay, I need to just edit I need to take out about 3 of them. Add in 3 of them. That should even out our mana. That's good enough. Our mana curve is now looking a little bit more healthy at 3.44.
Yeah.
And we have a good selection of creatures, instants, sorceries, lands, artifacts, planeswalkers.
Yep. And we have some big spells that we're doing too. We're doing some big things.
Yeah.
Chromatic Quarries, and yeah, we got a little bit of doing some big stuff as well as just doing some trickery. And is this blue enough for you though?
I mean, can you imagine putting, say, 10 mana into a Torment of Hailfire, paying an additional 3 and just copying it with Lithoform engine?
Yeah,
we've got our counter spells, we've got stealing things, casting other people's spells. I think this is very trickery.
Ooh. I mean, my Christmas dreamland here is having a dual strike that's already foretold. copying the Seething Song?
Yeah.
For a bunch of mana. And then, yeah, using that into Lithoform, into, Exsanguinates or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, you can pay 1 red to Seething Song for 3, and it makes you 15 mana.
Yeah.
I'm okay with 15 mana for paying 4 into it. Yeah, it seems like a good trade.
That seems like a perfect trade. I'm happy to call that a deck.
I love it.
It's very Tibalt.
I would love to play this deck so much. It's very, very Tibalt.
Yeah. Which also leads us to if anyone actually does build this deck, because the Arcadet link will be below on my Twitch, so you can go through and see it. Let us know what you think of it in the comments, or send us a message on the Into the 99 Discord. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because it's so much fun to brew, and just the idea of how it would work is so much fun to visualize.
Yeah, I would be more than happy playing this deck at any given point. It doesn't matter what table either, because we're doing so many versatile things that I think it'll have legs in any pot. I think I like the versatility of it mostly.
Though I am a little bit scared because one of the listeners, Empress Rara, she said she listened to our car door one and wanted to punch us in the face because it was so good but so terrifying. So I'm scared to see her answer to this deck.
I would love Rara's comment on this deck. I think it's so fun.
Does this deserve even more than a punch in the face?
I think it deserves less than a punch in the face, if I'm being honest. I think it's just being tricksy and it's being Tibalt's flavor. I mean, I don't think it does anything strictly mean per se. I think the opposition agent maybe might be the biggest offending.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just generating a bunch of mana in red and black, and
we're ramping in out of green. We're countering out of blue.
We're fogging out of black.
It's just...
Well, we're fogging out of green and in black.
Yeah.
I should say.
I love it. So are you happy to call it there?
Yeah, I'm great with it there. I think that's beautiful.
Nice. So, well, thank you again for joining us for another episode of Brewing It Live. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as me and Han have, because this has been fantastic. If you'd like to check out more of what we do, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Lotus Bloom Gaming. I have the Instagram, Lotus Bloom Gaming again. You can find articles that I write on intothe99.com. And if you'd like to support, the links are below. You can either go onto the Patreon or go to our merchandise store and pick up some cool t-shirts. Also, you might have heard some nice little rumours that I've been posting in my Discord and in the Into the 99 Discord that we are now officially Into the 99. I am one of the team members and I am so happy to be a part of it, and hoping to bring you some new content coming soon. We will keep doing what we do best, supplying you with all these great shows. Also, go to the Into the 99 YouTube and subscribe. We're trying to hit 300 subscribers. It'd be great to hit that. Otherwise, it's been great fun. As always, Han.
Yeah, always. If you do build this deck, or if you guys are interested in playing with us at any point, just reach out to me as well. The Han Shot at any social media, basically. I'm on Instagram, I believe, and Twitter on those channels. Just reach out and just send me a message and say, hey, like, I built Tibalt and it was a lot of fun at our deck, at our pod, and I would love to hear all about it. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a successful deck and I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, and if you've got ideas for our next deck, just let us know. We'll happily give it a go.
Yeah, Geriatrics, thank you for sticking around, and Tracy, thank you. I'll see you soon.
Otherwise, have a good evening and good night.
Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Love you.
Bye. Hello and welcome to Lotus Bloom Gaming, now part of Into the 99 podcast. I'm your hostess, Lotus, and with me today is Han.
Hello, everybody. How are you tonight?
And we're going to be doing another Brewing It Live session, and we are going to be brewing Valki, God of Lies. So...
Evening, Ashen.
Evening. Valki is a 1 and a black for a legendary creature god, 2/1. When Valki enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature they revealed this way until Valki leaves the battlefield. Pay X, choose a creature card exiled with Valki, with converted mana cost X. Valki becomes a copy of that card. But we also have...
Yep.
On the reverse side, one of the most underappreciated planeswalkers ever to exist, Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter, 5 black red. As Tibalt enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with you may play cards exiled with Tibalt, and you may spend mana as though it was mana of any colour to cast those spells. +2, exile the top card of each player's library. -3, exile target artifact or creature. And -8, exile all cards from all graveyards, add triple red. That is insane.
There's a lot going on with Tibalt.
There is so much going on. Yes, he's expensive, but if you get that to work, oh my god, their possibilities are insane. So...
yeah, there's a lot that we can do with this. The main way that we kind of agreed upon building Tibalt was that we wanted to play into the flavor of Tibalt a little bit and be a little tricky with him.
Well, he's basically Loki, isn't he? The god of tricks.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to kind of delve into that aspect of it a little bit. I think we both agreed this might lean towards a Rakdos version of being a blue deck, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Let's try and break the color pie. But I think the biggest issue we're going to have is trying to get it out and trying to get him out repeatedly with command attacks, especially the Planeswalker side.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to try and work on ramp as a priority, and then we can take it from there.
Sure.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to go with the good old faithful and Dark Ritual it.
Yep, Dark Ritual seems good. Our usuals, so our Soul Ring, our some of our other ramp would be things like, in this deck, Jeweled Lotus seems quite strong.
I mean, yes, its price tag's very high, but in this deck, I think it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to give the Valki side out if we have a Jeweled Lotus in hand.
Pretty much.
And even if we draw it later on, it will definitely help for any commander tags that we run into whatsoever. So I think it's a good include in here.
But do you know what's better than having our Soul Ring?
Having others' Soul Rings?
Having a Treasure Nabber and nabbing everyone else's.
Okay with this. Treasure Nabber seems great.
I mean, it's basically blue control stealing things, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We have a Curse of Opulence in chat from Tracy, and we also have a couple of suggestions from Ashen. So I guess we're going right off the bat with a Tibalt's Trickery, which is, I believe, in both of our lists without even looking.
Okay, well, Curse of Opulence, whenever enchanted player is attacked, make some treasured gold, isn't it? Not treasure. And I suppose it is a Tibalt deck. Tibalt's Trickery. If it doesn't go in, it's going to be sad.
Yep, that's definitely one of the suggestions that we had as well from Ashen. Thank you, Ashen.
But do we want things like Pyretic Ritual and Desperate Ritual?
So the one that I had personally, as part of mine, let's see here, I actually had, I was going more along the lines of Braid of Fire, personally, but I don't think that either of those are bad.
No. I mean, if we're going for Braid of Fire, this we have to use in our upkeep, though.
Mm-hmm.
So do we put in a Horizon Stone?
Yeah. So that's where I was going with it. Horizon Stone and Leyline Tyrants were the ones that I was thinking about.
Oh, Leyline Tyrant, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. That way that red mana does not dissipate off of our Braid of Fire, so I liked that personally.
Yeah, so we can try and store up some mana, and if they kill the Leyline Tyrant, it's just going to be painful for them.
Hey, Benson. Yeah, we've been on a Rakdos train lately, but I mean, when we have Tibalts to discuss, I mean, we're going to discuss some Tibalt here. Yeah. He's kind of the face of Kaldheim, too, so I was not mad at jumping on top of that immediately.
No. I'm just going to go straight into Dockside.
Sure.
I mean, that's just value for 2 mana.
Yep, and I actually had Goldspan Dragon as one of the new Kaldheim cards.
Is that the double treasure dragon?
It doesn't double the treasure, it just doubles the mana generated off of the
treasure. When it attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasures you control have tap, sacrifice, and add 2. Oh.
Yep. Yeah. So you sacrifice the treasure, and it adds 2 of any one color. So it seems good.
I'm quite happy with something like that.
Jerry Hatrix just mentioned Wheel of Fortune, and just to cycle back to Ashen, he also has a Withering Boon in here, as well as both the other Tibalts.
Okay, so we have a Wheel of Fortune at $1,600.
Mm-hmm.
We can. What was the other one?
Just Wheel of Fate.
Wheel of Fate.
Wheel of Fate. Yeah, that's the one with the suspend 4, and I think that doesn't cost nearly as much, and it also kind of works in our favor of we're just scheming and planning, and we'll go ahead and we'll be okay in 4 turns to go ahead and wheel, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to just go with geriatric's suggestion, but the price is just so high. But this one, I think, is a nice compromise.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you have a Wheel of Fortune, by all means, go ahead and throw it in there. I know Necrozak actually just traded in a Wheel of Fortune for a bunch of other cards for value at his local game store, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money. It definitely is, so if you have it, you can certainly just replace the Wheel of Fate with it, strict upgrade.
And did you say Imp's Mischief was the other one?
Sorry?
Did you say someone suggested Imp's Mischief?
Oh, no, but I will suggest that right now.
Oh, okay. What was the other suggestion?
It was the other 2 Tibalts and Withering Boon, if we haven't gotten there yet.
I knew it was a counterspell. I think it's a counterspell.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, black counterspells, you got to love them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so along those lines, so like I said, we're kind of going a little bit tricksy and being sort of a bluish deck is kind of the idea that you and I had.
Yeah.
So things along the lines of, Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast. I'm not sure we need all of these, but we can just kind of cut them later as needed.
Yeah, let's do. Just do one of them.
Jerry Hatrix also said, if you're going Dragons in Ramp, how about Terror of Mount Valus? Mount Valus is the one... I'm trying to remember. Is that the double strike?
Terror of Mount Valus is 5 red for a flying double strike. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain double strike to end of turn.
See, me personally, I wasn't thinking of Goldspan Dragon as being a dragon tribal for Valki. I was thinking more just along the lines of, I'm just going to get some value off of some treasure.
Yeah, I think the creatures and the way I was looking at it, there's no set tribe. It was more theme, because Valki is such a unique card and his abilities are so specific. I tried to use that in what I was suggesting. So, to give you an idea of what I was thinking, is because he exiles cards or becomes cards, and you can cast on Tibalt's side the cards that you exile, I was thinking along the lines of like Stolen Strategy.
I would agree with that.
Where in instance, it's 4 and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast non-land cards from among them. And you may spend mana or those mana of any colour to cast those spells.
Yeah.
That was the kind of thought process I went down. Let's not just use our deck. Let's play with everybody's.
I quite enjoy that as well. So along the lines of